to discuss the fifth part of the story, The Enemy, written by Pearl S. Buck. This story is about a dedicated, devoted doctor who forgot everything in order to save the life of a POW whose name is Tom. And we also see that he was in a constant rebellion between his mind and heart. The heart said that he needs to save the POW, and the brain said that no, he is an enemy and I can't afford to save him. But as I kept telling you that the doctors are compelled by their Hippocratic oath in order to pursue their profession. And that oath says that irrespective of the caste, creed, color, gender, you have to save a patient's life if it is in your capacity. So this man, forgetting all the boundaries, along with his wife, who was also a qualified doctor, saved this man. We'll get to see whether he saved Tom or not. And he took him from the beach, he brought him home, and he also saw how the servants were not very happy about it. The servants were rebellious about it, but still he did not pay any heed to it. We get to also see in between that Henna comes in and she screams because he was brought in the house and he was kept in Saddao's father's room, which was not opened, and obviously a very special room for everybody. The things of his father's were intact, people did not touch it. But when that body was brought in, Tom's body was brought in, obviously there was a lot of blood that has already oozed out, and for them at that point of time it was important to save Tom. So what they did was they brought in and Saddao wanted them to wash the body before performing an operation. So we see that he was trying to figure out what is there inside the body, and before the operation, obviously the body was clean. Yumi was asked, who is a servant, the caretaker, the governess of the children, and she refused, so Henna had to herself do it. By then the mat which was there below was completely soaked with blood. So he did not have time to think, he did not even bother what is happening. For him the prime capacity was, I need to save this man. So he started operating and he found a bullet inside his body and realized that if this is not taken out, this person will surely die. So that's what happened. He started operating, and we also see that Henna wasn't a trained anesthetic, but she was asked to give anesthesia under his able guidance, that is Saddao's able guidance. She does it. But looking at so much of blood, she started puking, and Saddao had no time to console his wife or take care of what is exactly happening. He performs the operation, and he was also injecting. The last part that we did was he was injecting syringe, that is an injection, and after doing so, he was in the process of saving him. We also saw that this person was talking to the person he operates on. He used to always talk and used to refer to as my friend. And this word, when he said for this enemy, that is obviously Japan and US, as I've told you, they were in constant rebellion with each other, constant war with each other. So when he said that, he all of a sudden realized that no, he's not my friend and he's my enemy. But still he continued the process, the diligent, dedicated, devoted, and I will also say evolved doctor who did not care about the animosity, did not care about the boundaries and the war which prevailed between the two countries, and he kept doing it. So that really shows the strength of character of both the doctors, who in that crux of situation realized the importance of saving a man's life rather than looking at the nationality. I'll proceed with the slides. We were on this slide when we get to see that Saddao was operating on him, and Tom, that is the prisoner of war, was saying something, mumbling something in a low tone, but they did not pay any heed to it. They were more worried about saving his life. So Henna gave him anesthesia and Saddao thrusted an injection. After that, we get to see that he was quite sure that this man will live, because he already found the bullet and he was almost there to take out the bullet from his body. Where he was, that Henna felt compelled to apologize. She herself served him, for none of the servants would enter the room. When she came in the first time, she saw him summon his small strength to be prepared for some fearful thing. Don't be afraid, she begged him softly. How come? You speak English? She gasped. I was a long time in America, she replied. She saw that he wanted to reply to that, but he could not, and so she knelt and fed him gently from the porcelain spoon. And we get to see that after the operation, Tom came into his senses, but no one was ready to serve him. No one wanted to come into his room because he was treated as an enemy. But Henna, as you know, was a doctor, and they both decided that they are going to save this man. So she had no choice. She came in and she started talking to Tom. Tom replied in English. So he was surprised to see this girl is also talking in English, because in Japan there were very few people who knew that language. Henna was in America for so many years, and that's why she was very fluent in that language. So she said that I was in America for a long time. After that, she knelt is obviously to low down. I mean, she was on her knees. Then this man ate unwillingly, but still he ate. Now you will soon be strong, she said, not liking him and yet moved to comfort him. He did not answer. She did not like him. She didn't want to be around him, but then she had no choice other than helping him out, because that was the duty of the doctor. So she did that. She served him and she fed him and everything. So that is it. When Sadao came in the third day after the operation, he found the young man sitting up, his face bloodless with the effort. Lie down, Sadao cried. So obviously after operation, it was the third day when Sadao entered his room, and looking at Sadao, this man got up. So all of a sudden Sadao said, no, you will not get up. He had a serious injury. He was operated. So it was a major operation. Sadao, realizing the situation, he said, you will not get up. You want to die, he said, because he was worried. So he said, do you want to die? He forced the man down gently and strongly and examined the wound. You may kill yourself if you do this sort of a thing, he scolded. So then he said that if you do this again, then you might die. What are you going to do with me? The boy muttered. So now Tom was curious, what will this man do? Because he knew that he will be compelled by his duty. He looked just now barely 17. Are you going to hand me over? For a moment, Sadao did not answer. He finished his examination, then pulled the silk quilt over the man. I do not know myself what I shall do with you, he said. So Tom wanted to know, Tom was curious to know what will Sadao do with him, knowing the fact that he was in an enemy country. So Sadao confessed to him that I myself don't know what I plan to do with you. He, at that point of time, he was not sure. As a doctor, he did his duty. But after that, what he is going to do, he was still not clear with it. I ought to course to give you to the police. You are a prisoner of war. No, do not tell me anything. He put up his hand as he saw the young man was about to speak. Do not even tell me your name unless I ask it. So obviously he said that you are a prisoner of war and I don't know whom to say, whom not to. He put up his hand as he saw the young man was about to speak. So he didn't even want to listen to him. He said that I don't want to know your name. I don't want to know anything about you. Till the time I ask you, please don't open your mouth. They looked at each other for a moment, and then the young man closed his eyes and turned his face to the wall. Okay, he whispered, his mouth a bitter line. Outside the door, Henna was waiting for Sadao. He saw at once that she was in trouble. Sadao, Yumi tells me the servants feel they cannot stay if we hide this man here anymore, she said. She tells me that they are saying that you and I were so in. So now there was a real problem. As such, Sadao was not interested in keeping him but didn't know what to do. So Sadao said, you will not open your mouth. He came out and there was Henna. She looked perturbed, perplexed and worried. So he asked what happened. So Yumi says that the servants don't want to work for them because they think that we are hiding a traitor. They were not very happy with the idea that we are trying to save a man who is a prisoner of war. America, that we have forgotten to think of our own country first. They think we like Americans. So then the servants think just because we were in America, we have forgotten the people, the love for our own country. We love America more than our own country. So Sadao says, it is not true, said harshly. Americans are our enemy, but I have been trained not to let a man die, even if I can help it. Please underline that. So he says America is our enemy. I know that fact, but a man cannot die if I can help him, being a doctor. The servants cannot understand that, she said anxiously. Anxiously is worriedly. No, he agreed. Neither seemed able to say more, and somehow the household dragged on. The servants grew more watchful, their courtesy was as careful as ever, but their eyes were cold upon the pair to whom they were hired. So the servants being uneducated, will never understand what is their duty towards their profession. They'll never understand what is the obligation that they have towards their own profession. That if I can save somebody, why will I let them die? So then the servants grew more watchful, and their courtesy was as careful as ever, but their eyes were cold. So we can see the servants were very angry, and their eyes were cold means they were not having any sort of feeling. Firstly, they had a lot of respect because they all were there from Sadhau's father's time. But now they don't have respect just because it's their duty. It's like they are working under someone, that is Sadhau and his wife, and that's why they're working there. It is clear what a master ought to do, the old gardener said one morning. So the gardener says that we now know what our master wants to do. He has worked with flowers all his life and had been a specialist too in moss. So this gardener was there from Sadhau's father's time. He was there from the time his father was alive. For Sadhau's father, he had made one of the finest moss gardens in Japan, sweeping the bright green carpet constantly so that not a leaf or a pine needle marred the velvet of its surface. So then they get to see he has made one of the most finest moss gardens in Japan for Sadhau's father, and he made sure that nothing could cover the velvet of the surface. The texture of the surface will not be covered by anybody. Alright. He now said, pinching a bud from a bush as he spoke, when the man was so near death, why did he not let him bleed? Underline. This was said by the gardener. He says that when he was almost dying, he should have been left there only. Why did he bring him? Why did he not allow him to die? That young master is so proud of his skill to save life that he saves any life. So he says that this young man, that is Sadhau and his wife, they are so proud of their skill of being doctors that they save anybody. The cook said contemptuously. She split a fowl's neck skillfully and held the fluttering bird and let its blood flow into the roots of a wisteria vine. Blood is the best fertilizer, and the old gardener would not let her waste a drop of it. So we also see that there was another cook who was there. She was cutting a bird. Fowl is a bird, and she was cutting the neck of the bird. The blood was put into the garden because it was considered that blood is the best fertilizer. Blood acts very well for the plants. It's very good for it. So he did not allow her to waste it, and everything was poured in. The important thing is that he says that our master is so proud of his skill that he saves anybody he wants. So we see that the servants are extremely angry about the fact that Sadhau and Hena had rescued or had given life to a prisoner of war. And they said the master and his wife, they're so proud of being doctors that they have forgotten that he is an enemy. He should have been let. If somebody is dying and that too he is a prisoner of war according to the service, he should have been left there only. Why did they get him? We don't understand why did they get him at all. And moreover, they also accuse that just because they have stayed in America for so long, they have forgotten that being in their own country, they need to be loyal for their own place. So that loyalty has gone for a toss. They love America more than Japan. That was their accusation. It is the children of whom we must think. Yumi said sadly, what will be their fate if their father is condemned as a traitor? They did not try to hide what they said from the ears of Hena as she stood arranging the day's flowers in the veranda nearby, and she knew they spoke on purpose that she might hear. So the servants were talking amongst themselves that they should think that what will happen to the children if their father is condemned means he's accused of being a traitor. Who is a traitor? Somebody who is against his own country. Somebody who is not in favor of his country. The servants said this on purpose so that Sadhau and Hena listened to this that if they keep hiding Tom, then they will be termed as traitors. And what will happen to the children? That they were right, she knew too, in most of her being. But that was another part of her which she herself could not understand. It was not sentimental liking of the prisoner. She has come to think of him as a prisoner. She had not liked him even yesterday. So she says it is not about a liking thing. It is not about, I like that person or not, or the country. It is about a duty which she will never be able to explain it to the uneducated people. She will never be able to understand the duty, the obligation that she has towards her profession. And she had not liked him even yesterday when he had said in the impulsive way, anyway, let me tell you that my name is Tom. Impulsive way means when you are eager to say, when you are, hyperactive. So he introduces himself that my name is Tom. She had only bowed her little distant bow. She saw hurt in his eyes but did not wish to assuage it. Then what happens is he says that my name is Tom. But she doesn't want to pay any heed to it. She doesn't want to, address it. And because she ignored him, that man was little hurt. Assuage means she did not wish to assuage it. That means she did not want to acknowledge it. She did not want to accept it or see to it. Indeed, he was a great trouble in this house. For Henna and Sadao, he was a trouble. And because of which the servants were also rebellious, which was not a very happy thing. As for Sadao, every day he examined the wound carefully. The last stitches had not pulled out this morning, and the young man would in a fortnight be nearly as well as ever. So then last stitches have, obviously he was trying to pull it out, and he says by 15 days he will be alright. Sadao went back to his office and carefully typed a letter to the chief of police reporting the whole matter. On the 21st day of February, an escaped prisoner was washed up on the shore in front of the house. So he decides that I need to do something about it before it is too late. So he writes a letter for the chief of police reporting the whole incident. So far he typed, and then he opened a secret drawer of his desk and put the unfinished report into it. On the 7th day after that, two things happened. This is very important. Please underline on the 7th day what were the two things that happened. In the morning, the servants left together and their belongings tied in large square cotton handkerchiefs. When Henna got up in the morning, nothing was done, the house was not clean, and the food was not prepared. She knew what it meant. She was dismayed and even terrified. Dismayed means obviously she was upset, she was sad, and terrified means she was scared also. But her pride as a mistress would not allow her to show it. But she will never show that this is wrong, or she did not want to accept, she did not want to show that whatever these guys are doing is all wrong. And she did not want to subdue her pride. Instead, she inclined her head gracefully when they appeared before her in the kitchen, and she paid them off and thanked them for all that they have done for her. So we see on the 7th day, two important things happened. First is all the servants, they all decided that they will quit working for Henna and Sadao because they were trying to save an enemy, and nothing was done. The house was all undone, it was not clean, food was not prepared, and she could relate to it what exactly went wrong. But Henna did not subdue her pride at all, and she thanked everyone for their service and for their sense of duty, but did not say that why you are leaving and XYZ. And she bowed down in front of them. They all left altogether. So students, I conclude this session telling you that we were on that part of the story wherein the servants left on the 7th day because they thought their master was so proud of his profession and the art of saving lives that he has forgotten the difference between your own countrymen and the outsiders. So they saved a prisoner of war, which was not right at that point of time, where the war was all heated up and there was a lot of animosity between Japan and America. So they all left because they could not work in a house where the master was a traitor. I'll get back to you with the next session. I hope you understand. If you don't, please revert back to me. Thank you.